Hey there, Patreon. The last video we talked about predictive programming in the most rudimentary form, just what it is, and all it is the ideas that are put into pop culture, before they happen, to acclimate, people to mental processes to deal with them, right? And we asked the question at the end of the video, is it substantiated? Are the things that people are seeing in the videos, are they legitimate? Okay, so what I want to do is I want to make the most stark case possible, right? Just to basically initiate a dialogue. Behind me right over here, that's the White House, okay? And the current guy who sits at the head of it is Donald Trump, right? So this is our president. This is, the world as it is in 2019. Kind of a dystopian thing, isn't it? Let's rewind the clock back to 1990, and I want to direct your attention towards this little comic here called The Wall, all right? This was made in 1990, and it explicitly names Trump within this comic. It talks about, current conditions, hyper-capitalism, volatile situations. I mean, geez, don't we see those, day by day? We have, frankly, these mass shootings. We've got everybody clawing out each other's eyes. It's a nasty situation out there, and this comic speaks to it directly. So we have the construction of the wall. We've got, at this point, basically breakaway society. That's what this comic really predicts. You've got, the disheveled masses out here. You've got the elite here, and then you've got, the barrier, right? Okay, so we have basically deceit in high office. This talks about the collusion between, basically the right and the left, essentially, to install a puppet head, which presumably is Trump. That's what this comic says, and that's what we have here behind us, right? This is reality. This is reality, too. How these two link up is what we are going to talk about, because this is predictive programming. So what we have here is a scene, basically Night of the Long Knives. Next we have, now this is where it gets really, really interesting. We have MAGA hats featured in 1990. So Trump basically begins his nationalistic movement by, drawing the ire out of his, potential supporters, with this nationalistic fervor. He basically puts hats on everybody, MAGA hats. We saw this in 2017. This was predicted in 1990. 27 years. Difference. How do we make sense of this? This is the important question. This is a very, very tough question. And I'm not willing yet to chalk it up to mere chance, okay? What I'm saying, and what others are saying too, what basically the crux of predictive programming is the idea that that these subjects are put into the cultural zeitgeist. For what purposes, we don't exactly know, but we do know that what we see here in 1990 translates to a Trump presidency in 2017. Let's move on. The next page, the elites are taking it easy. People are starting to rebel. And what else? Trump makes the most of it, right? Basically uses, whatever. But this is the situation. We've got a ritual sacrifice up top. We've got, I hold in my hands plans for a monument we will never forget, our great struggle, a symbol of which spirit will be built. And it came to pass, and then they build a wall, right? And then you've got the lone protester out there saying dump Trump, when everybody else is kind of roped into these, more just base responses to this world around us that's seemingly falling apart. So basically the world that we have in 2019, right? Where everybody's clawing each other's eyes out, where Trump's in the White House, where, division is rife. We see these things mirrored, not after the fact, but well beforehand in 1990 with, again, this comic, The Wall. Now this is just one of several instances, okay? In fact, just in the year 1990 alone, I could probably rattle off a dozen, instances where they talk about a President Trump, or where they talk about like 9/11, serious topics, okay? So when we ask ourselves, does this warrant suspicion? I think, personally, that this comic says yes, okay? And I think the consequences of ignoring it lead to things like what we have here, okay? A world that doesn't seem to add up. It doesn't seem to make sense. Because in 1990 we have this, in 2019 we have this, okay? This is real, that is real, but the whole thing seems dystopian. So we're going to make sense of it, you and I. So I hope this answers the question of, does it warrant suspicion? And I hope what you see here says yes, okay? And I'm going to provide a link to the comic. I'm going to provide a link to the author who responded to, the questions of, geez, how does this work out, right? And I'll respond in the comments with, various other links that basically speak to predictive programming better than I could. But yes, it does warrant suspicion as far as I'm concerned. And the consequences of it are massive, okay? Massive, massive, because if they're predicting the presidency here and we have the presidency there, what does that mean? These are tough questions, and we're going to answer them here in Washington. I love you, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.